Welcome, welcome. Jamie Hernandez here, founder of Breakthrough Yoga Coaching Method, helping you bridge the gap between your spiritual practice and your business. And today is a special day. We have one of our dreamiest clients, Eileen Burwell, the founder of Joyful Connections. And we're going to bring her on right now. Yes. And so we're going to talk about her journey from her being in a 9 to 5 job, very respectable social worker job, and from moving from that to working on her business, Joyful Connections, full time. And there she is. Hi, Eileen. Welcome.
Hi, please tell me the volume
All
works.
right. So it's working. Yes.
Hey.
All right. So, as we've talked about before, what I was saying to you before is that you are a person that brings light into the world, into the room. And I think that's why you're one of our dreamiest clients, because that is the mission of what I'm trying to do, is help other people do what they are meant to do here on earth and make it practical, make it sustainable, and allow them to have the freedom, the choices that they want and they love. So tell us a little bit more about Joyful Connections. What's it about, and what inspired you to create this business?
Sure. Well, hi everyone, and thank you so much, Jamie, for having me on. So, Joyful Connections, we offer wellness workshops that really promotes positivity and the importance of human connection. And my business, Joyful Connections, really it started as programs and workshops. Sorry, I'm nervous,
Yeah,
but just
of course.
so it really started off with wanting to help the senior community um, in my hometown here in Laval. And there aren't that many programs in Laval that offer services to seniors who are Anglophone. There's a lot of Francophone programs. And so it started off being catered to seniors who are experiencing loneliness and isolation,
Yeah.
and giving them the opportunity to participate in these programs. And so it's really a great way to promote active, healthy aging. And I
Mm.
started off, I want to make my long story a short one, but just as my background, I am a special care counselor and social worker, and have been working, in government settings, community organizations, and have had at that time in 2016, 15 years of experience working with seniors. And so it was during my maternity leave with my second. I am a mama of four, and at that time on maternity with my Mason, and for me, loving motherhood, I missed my work with seniors. I missed that connection. And so I took a chance. I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I tried offering this one program called Jog Your Mind. I gathered 12 seniors in my community, rented out a room at the church, gave a donation, and it was a 10-week program that really focused on seniors and maintaining their cognitive vitality. And so just really fun getting together every week for 2 hours. And I tell everyone I charged peanuts. It was my first time. I wanted to
Yeah.
just experience and see, okay, what is this going to be? What is this going to be like, this whole experience? And my gosh, getting the 12 seniors and um, facilitating the program, I fell in love. I felt like this spark or this passion. And
Mm.
I think it was a 10-week program. And at session number 7, I share this all the time, one of the participants, or a couple of the participants, told me, Eileen, the program is coming to an end. You need to do something. You need to create another program, because of course they love the program and getting tips and tricks on how to maintain their memory. But for them, what I saw was that importance of human connection, getting together, socializing. And I had participants who were retirees, they were widowers. So I saw, during our break time, during the snack time and coffee, friendships were created.
Yes.
And that motivated me, and it inspired me to think, because that the Jog Your Minded is not my program. And so it inspired me to think, oh my gosh, okay, what else can I do? What can I
Mm.
offer? What other programs? So all of a sudden I'm brainstorming and getting the creative juices flowing, which I never
Yeah.
thought I was a creative person.
Like a true entrepreneur. We have our
And
creative juices. We're like, what else is possible here? And I think it's funny because entrepreneurs have that. We just need like a little, like we just need a little thing. And even though you were saying like, okay, 12, and I forgot you, I can hardly hear, but it's like you charge a certain price, and but you kind of from that moment knew. And I think in sometimes that's all it takes, because the joy and the excitement is just so powerful that we're kind of like, wait a minute, something is more is happening here. And I think it's even more than just that. It's like it's a little bit of a soul calling, right? The soul is like, this is it, this is the thing. Go for this thing, right?
yes,
But it wasn't always this way, where you were working 9 to 5 and you were traveling to work. I think it was a, I don't know, 1 hour 2 hour
an hour
commute,
and
I can't
15
remember.
minutes.
And you were mentioning like you would get home and you have your 4 kids and you would have to like take a nap on the couch before you can kind of get yourself together and be present with them. And so the thing about that, there's that, but there's also when you're working in a 9 to 5 job, it's secure, there's benefits, it's stable, you know
Attention.
you're gonna pay the bills, you can feed your kids, like
Yeah,
so like to have this inkling in your heart to like, oh my God, okay, I think I want to do this more. What was
absolutely.
it in when you were working as a social worker? And again, there's nothing wrong with that, it's but you knew that this wasn't it. So what was the moment when you were working in that job where you're like, I this is good, but it can be better, and I know there's something more for me? What was that for you?
Yeah. So it was while being on maternity leave, I knew that I had to go back to work. I kind of had this deadline that I have to be back May 6th,
Yes.
2021. And that also gave me the push and the motivation that I really need Joyful Connections to work, because I do not, and I love, I really enjoyed the job working at a CLSC as a social worker in the
Yeah.
home care service department and being a case manager.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as everyone knows, being a social worker and case manager, it is, I'm not going to lie, it's a stressful job. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great job. I love working, with the team and my clients and support, but it's a lot of administrative work. So even think about this, before having children, it was already a stressful job.
Mm.
So I couldn't imagine going back, fast forward, with like 4 children, doing that commute and then coming home. I just pictured myself already like depleted, exhausted by the time I would come
Yeah.
home, and then like that's not fair to my kids to get that
Yeah.
version of
Mm.
myself. And so my experience with Joyful Connections and the workshops that I was running, so um, by this time I already had, the Jog Your Mind going. I became a certified laughter yoga instructor and offering laughter yoga classes,
Mm.
reminiscence and sharing life stories. And this is, I guess we could say, this is what fed my soul.
Yeah.
And I like, so, I get so much joy and
Yes.
positive energy from facilitating these workshops. And um, to say that I would wake up in the morning every day excited about my day, and it also not feeling like work. And
Yeah.
and so yeah, and I was torn.
Yes.
It was not a difficult decision. It was one of my most difficult decisions to make, to leave
Yes.
9 to 5 safe job with a good salary, the pension, or do I take a chance and leap of faith? It was months
Mm-hmm.
of trying to make this decision, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew what I really wanted, but I
Yes.
was like, can I make it work though? Is it going to be sustainable? Am I going to have enough salary? Is it going to cover my social work
Right.
salary? And also, like, oh my gosh, I have 4 babies to feed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The mortgage to pay. There are bills. And it's like, is it possible to actually follow my dream? You know, everyone says, follow your dreams,
Yeah,
but it's not that easy.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's so funny because, so many of our clients, they already know that they have the vision, they know where they want to go, they actually see it, they can taste it, they're like, it's so close.
Yeah.
And sometimes they also realize, I know I want to do this, but sometimes I think I need help. Like,
Mhm.
one of my mentors always says, like, we don't heal alone. And even me, like, I run a business and I have my mentors and I can't
Oh,
do it
yeah,
alone.
for sure.
And, you know, what was the moment where, you know, you decided, like, I think I need the help, I need help. Either it's from Jamie or somebody, but I need some kind of help, some kind of guidance, some kind of direction, some kind of, like, how do I transition from this to now working as a full-time entrepreneur? I already have what it takes, but I just kind of need
Yes.
that extra sort of belief and accountability. Because the thing is,
Yeah.
we all know in our head, we have all of these dreams, but what sometimes happens is, like, as soon as we think about it or we envision it, we, like, right away, like, oh, no, 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 but that can't happen. And we have all these fears, right? Like, what if I don't pay the bills? What if, like, all of these things? And what if the program
Hmm.
doesn't actually even really work? And can I trust this
Hmm.
person, Jamie? And fundamentally, can I trust myself? Because I kind
Yes.
of know deep inside there's something here, and I feel like I need to go for it, but I need a little help. So what was a moment where you're like, okay, I'm gonna call Jamie and go on
Mm.
these one of these breakthrough yoga coaching calls that she's talking about, where we look at our wounds, our deep core wounds.
Oh
So
my
that's one of the things that we
gosh,
do in your
yes.
program is we look at underneath the hood. Because if I
Mm.
just gave you the practical, you know what to do, right? You already know what to do, but it's just to actually make the actual action steps to get there. There is so much blockage and fear. So that's one of the first things we do on the call, is to really look at the
Yes.
core wounds. And so I'm curious for you, like, what was the big, surprise or aha on that call? Because we went deep, and that's the thing. Like, we
Oh, yeah.
get at it, like, right away, because that's where
I
we need to
know.
start
Like
for
right off the
everything.
bat, the
You're
tears
right,
are
for
coming.
everything else. And that's why I love working with you, Eileen, because, like, I mean, this is my third take, and I was already crying at the beginning because we're so deeply passionate about what we do that it brings us to tears, and tears of joy, and tears of, like, almost disbelief about our actual life.
I know.
So
Like,
when you
yeah.
made the decision to make the call, what was it, and what was it that surprised you about the work we did on the call?
Okay, so even I just wanted to let
Yeah.
everyone know, even before the call, I would tune into your lives, like even a few months before.
Yes.
And every time you would do your lives, or if you would get someone that you were interviewing, I just resonated with everything that you were saying, and other guests that you had who was also talking about fear and self-doubt. And I just always remember commenting and saying, yes, yes, I totally know what she's talking about, or I'm experiencing that. So I said, and knowing also that, oh my gosh, okay, Joyful Connections, it's going well, but I have to make a decision. I have to go back to work in 3 months. And I remember even before making that call to you, I called my manager and I said, is there any way at all that I can come back part-time? And I explained my situation. There's no way that I'm going to be able to do the job full-time
Yeah.
and take care of my 4 little ones at the time. And at that time, I wrote it down, 7, 5, 3.5, and 23 months old.
Yeah.
So
So very dependent.
yes. And knowing that the time that I had with them a few years, like during the maternity leave and Joyful Connection, I love this life. And so I want to continue. And so I said, oh my gosh, I need to call Jamie. Like now is the time. I don't know. I was watching one of your lives and it was just that day I said, I have to do something. I already know my decision, but it's not clear yet.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of self-doubt, a
Yeah.
lot of fears.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
when
and
I
it's
called
so
you,
normal because it's like you have this
very
dream and
scary.
you're living it almost by yourself. Like
Yeah,
even though you have your partner and everybody, but there's something that the truth inside of you is only it only belongs to you, and you kind of like it's just you, right? And so
yeah,
sometimes it's important to share it with other people. It's like this is my truth, and you need somebody to say, "I see you," and it's like I believe in you, and let's make this happen. Like okay,
yeah,
you just told me your truth. Okay, so let's get some accountability because that's, I think, probably one of the key things when we're going to make something happen in our life is like, there has to, like, just the fact that you had like a deadline, May, whatever, 26th,
really
there was
helped.
like, ooh, I have to make a decision. And all of these things are decision upon decision upon decision upon decision. And it's, you're deciding your way towards your future, you know? So
Yes.
on the call, we did some deep work. Was there anything that surprised you about the work that we did? You don't have to go into details, but was there anything that surprised you or that was like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that to
What was,
happen?
yeah, I definitely did not expect it to happen on the phone. I think we even did a type of meditation where I was talking about my doubts and my fears, and you took me back where I was just closing my eyes and breathing, and you asked me when was that first time that I experienced, let's go back a few years when I was young and as a child, and that first experience where I experienced self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And and it took me back to that, and all of a sudden tears are coming, but you allowed me like to feel it, to
Mm,
experience it, and to kind of let that go, and
yeah.
that was okay. Um, and it was like this good relief,
Yeah.
or a release, sorry, a release. And I was like, oh my gosh. And again, just speaking to you and you understanding my situation, you provided me with like validation,
Mm-hmm.
and you understood, just because also that you, it really helps when someone else goes through it, and then just seeing how successful you are too, and it's like, okay, how can I get there?
Yes.
And now we just, because to the audience, like, Jamie and I, we've known each other since like childhood,
Since a
but
baby.
I know that our families were family friends, but
Yes.
we never, because you're just a little bit older than me, so, but we've never had like a conversation, and that was our first conversation, that phone call, and instantly felt a connection. It was like
Mm,
an instant connection, and our energy was just, I don't know, there was like synchronicity.
yeah.
and
Wow. Yeah.
and really positive, and just feeling really good getting off the phone. And so like, oh my gosh, at that end of the call, I just remember like, yes, like let's do it. I want to work with Jamie. I want to, yeah. And even before watching the lives, I already had a good feeling. And I am somebody, well, I am an empath, and I also go with my gut feeling and
Mm,
intuition,
mm.
where it just,
Yes.
it feels right, and something is pushing me to make that call to you. And it was an incredible experience, our whole journey together. And I'm so grateful to you because, in the program, I learned so much about myself. And what I love about you as a coach and as my coach was you would guide me. You would ask me questions and just sort of guide me. You wouldn't tell me what to do. You would just ask the right questions, and I would speak. I mean, I would respond, and it's, as I'm speaking, I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, like this moment of clarity, or a moment, we had so many moments of
Yeah.
aha moments. I'm like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that. But now that you asked me, and you're just like, yeah. So that the validation, or just being, I guess, that cheerleader,
Yes.
it really, it really helped, and I really appreciated it.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, that guidance, and especially helping me gain clarity,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because as as the weeks were going, I was like, oh my gosh, you helped me to even gain the confidence and also to be brave enough to sit down and write my resignation letter. And that was something so scary, writing the resignation, typing the resignation letter, and then sitting there and staring at the computer screen and like, it wasn't an instant send.
No,
I'm
no.
like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Oh, I was, yeah, I have goosebumps because it's taking me back to that time. And I believe it was April 2020, end of April 2021.
Wow.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and you know what? I'll share with everyone that time. I just remember it really was a leap of faith. And I just knew, I said, you know what? Like, I believe in the universe. Everything is going to go out. I'm going to be okay. Also getting into that whole mindset, the positive
Yes.
mindset of this is the way things are supposed to go. At the time, my husband during COVID, and that was, yeah, so sorry. This was like the crazy time during COVID where my husband got laid off from Air Canada after working there for 10 years during COVID. We had 4 little ones at
Mm-hmm.
home from school and daycare. So it was a crazy time. And then I was so grateful that before COVID, I never knew anything about doing programs and workshops online and Zoom. I learned together with my seniors.
Yes.
And so it was just great that joyful connections during COVID. That was a big positive, how it was a difficult time for everyone during COVID. But for joyful connections, it was kind of a time that the business thrived because I was able to pivot from in-person workshops. During COVID, the beginning of the pandemic, I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? All of my workshops and programs that were all in person got canceled.
Yeah.
So it's like, now what? So it was just the
Mm-hmm.
perfect time to, well, now's the best time to try this Zoom and to try my programs online. And that was just, it opened so many doors to be able to work with seniors across Canada. I was offering same workshops that I was doing with the United Church here in Canada. It was so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think there is power in decision and commitment. What we start to realize as we kind of like, all, if you start to listen to this story, it's like there is all of these little decisions. And every time you made a decision, life was there to kind of like support you. And every time, and so the thing about it is like the decision is intangible. It's in your mind, it's in your heart. And it's like, but once we make that, things start to happen, right? There are synchronicities that start to happen.
Yes.
And so, and I think when we are observant of those synchronicities and we continue to move towards like our highest joy, our highest excitement, that frequency and that kind of intuition and that knowing and that decision is really what is the mirror that mirrors back to us. Okay, we decided, like if we've already decided we're going somewhere, we
Yes.
already have the brochures to, and you recently went to Hawaii, like, you 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 see
Oh,
it in
that's
your
another
mind. And
thing.
I remember you
I
telling
remember
me,
you always doing this, the mirroring. It brought me
yeah,
back to our sessions. I missed that.
yeah, I remember, yeah, and I remember you saying, I asked you, I think one time, like, what is your dream like day moment? And you're like, I see myself like jumping on the beach with my family in like in Hawaii. And then like a couple of weeks after, you said oh yeah, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm like, do you remember that you actually envisioned that? You decided that before? So it's like there's something very powerful about making a decision and
Yes.
trusting that, because here's the work that always happens, right? You already know what you want and your soul is already speaking. Like, when you speak about, like, you can even see it on this video. It's like when you speak about joyful connection, when you speak about your work with the seniors, there's like something that literally lights up, like your soul literally lights up. And then when you talk about like the social work, okay, it was safe, it was yeah, but then I got home, and then and you can literally feel your soul like, oh, you know and
And even the
what we do
body.
in the program is really like discern between the two voices, because sometimes the voices sound so similar because they're always speaking simultaneously.
Mm.
You know, when you talk about your dream, your vision, then that kind of like what I call it, the egoic structure, that very reasonable voice there starts to come in and starts to talk about all the reasons why we
Mm.
shouldn't do what we want to do. And so every time we kind of face that, just like you said in the breakthrough call, we kind of face that moment where did that doubt imprint in your body, and that in your moment in your life, in your like childhood, and then just these moments in our life where we kind of get imprinted with this mechanism that helps us to protect us from not
Mhm.
feeling a certain way. Every time we kind of clear one of those things, then it leaves room for something else. So it's like that's the process, is being able to every time clear so that we can leave room for something else, and trust the clarity. It's like all that clarity, even if you sat down by yourself, you would have had it, Eileen. But it's just like somebody else saying, yes, yes, do that, yes, like yes. and
I
and
need the extra push.
yeah, yeah, just that it just takes somebody. I think what it is, it's like it just takes somebody to see your vision too, and
Mm.
to have that certainty and that centeredness to know, I believe in it, and I believe it's
Mm.
possible, and I can hear it, because I can hear the discernment between your soul and between that place that just wants to protect itself. So
That's the
I
safety.
think that's why I love working with you, is that you were open to that process of going to places that are not necessarily easy, emotionally, but you had that maturity of like looking at it, working with it, letting the tears come, letting it flow, letting it release.
Mm. I was like, where are all these tears coming?
Yeah, right? All of this, and I think
But
that
after
those
it felt
tears are like a
good.
thawing, right? Something that we've been like gripping on for so long, and and we're
Mm.
trying to protect it, but it's like all of a sudden we're like, oh, somebody who actually I feel safe
Mm.
expressing my dreams with. And I think that's so important, to have a container where not just all of your like shit needs to come out, but also like, what about your soul? What about those dreams that like maybe
Mm.
somebody else is like, ooh, I don't know about that, Eileen. I don't know if that's like a rational decision. But you need
Mm.
a safe place to say, yeah, yeah. And of course, I'm not going to tell people to go off, and I'm always going to tell people, I'm always just going to reflect back what their own truth, because you're the only one that knows.
Exactly.
So I guess, yeah, I want to thank you for your grace and your appreciation, because I really believe that frequency of gratitude, that frequency of joy,
Mm.
that frequency of excitement, that frequency of like being grateful for having somebody like collaborate with you is really a superpower. It's a superpower to manifest your life. And so you have come to fruition with that in your life, knowing how to manifest things in your life that even are scary, but manifest like that, place where you're like, oh, I'm here. We're on Hawaii at the beach, and
Ah,
just
oh my gosh.
right.
Okay, can I just share like
Yeah.
this manifestation, how real it is? Well, I've always, I think since 2012, been manifesting, and it's magic. But last night, I was looking at our old emails, and you asked me, and I love this exercise. You asked me, I believe maybe third session that we had, to write up a 5-year kind of a dream
Yeah.
plan, or what does your next 5 years look like? Like your everyday, what does it look like? And reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm living it. And I even like shared it with Ro last night as I'm reading, and I'm like, even like waking up in the morning and feeling really good, and having the time to, not every single day, but having that time to even meditate for 10 minutes or to journal, and being the one to drop off the kids at school, pick them up, just having this freedom. I continue to work with this organization, which I am still, and even hitting up corporate, doing corporate wellness workshops, which I also got to experience. so just I wrote so much,
Yeah.
but I was like, I'm doing it. I'm
Yeah.
doing it. Yes.
Yes.
And it's crazy, like 2 years and a bit later, and even that the whole Hawaii thing, I remember you asked me, again, it was a kind of meditation that we did during our session where we were in Hawaii and there was kind of like a rope or a line on the sand. It's my favorite place, Ko'olina, my favorite beach.
Mm,
And I had you on the other side of that rope. So I was on one side, on the other side of the rope was all of my family and my friends. I think even some of my clients who were cheering me on. And I had to, it was kind of just significant in that I had to jump over the rope
yes.
and join them and just taking that leap of faith to go for it, go for
Mm,
joyful connections and yeah, even I it, I just remembered when I was talking about taking the leap of faith and trusting in the universe. You know, that day that I sent the resignation letter,
yes.
or just maybe 2, 3 hours after our family, we were going for a walk, and my husband received an email saying that he got this contract position that he applied for that same day that I gave the resignation letter. So
Yes.
it's crazy. And then maybe 6 months later, got another position, and he's back at Air Canada.
Yes. And
So I'm
that's
just
the
super
synchronicity, I
grateful.
think. Yeah, that life, once we make decision, then life just mirrors back. Okay, that's your decision. Okay, so we're gonna support that. I mean, it's just kind of how it works. We are the creators of our life, and we have this collaboration with the universe. And I know sometimes for some people it's like, well, it seems that simple, but again, it's this discernment, and it's not easy, right? It's like,
Hmm.
how long were you sitting on your resignation letter for?
A while.
Weeks, right? Or months or years or what?
Um, the resignation letter was a few, like after typing it, was like a couple of days. But the whole decision, I know that when I first started my program in 2016, well, we did have baby number 3 and 4 soon after, so it was a back-to-back maternity leave. And
Mm,
so I was just, I couldn't go back
yeah,
to the 9 to
yeah,
5 after. For me, the most important thing was I want to do something that I love that gives me freedom of time. And the most important was being there for my family and
yes,
having that. It's not a perfect balance, but having some kind of a work life family balance. I
yes,
wanted to be there for those, to be able to see my little one at daycare during, let's say, oh, at 10:30 in the morning, we're going to have a Halloween parade around the
yes,
gym.
yes,
And I was like, I want to be there. And I got to be
yes, right?
there. I got to be there. Or yeah, to go apple picking, to do those things. Because I wrote in my 5-year dream plan or goals is that, well, everyone knows kids, they're only young for such a short period, and I don't want to miss it.
Yeah. And I
I
think
don't want to
that's the
miss
power of understanding what you value. It's like what you're saying is, first and foremost, I value my family. I want the freedom to just, be with them on those moments that sometimes you might think is insignificant, but it's actually super significant, to be able to go to the Halloween parade, like, because that time doesn't get back. We can't recreate that.
it.
And so when we understand our own values and we continue to make decisions based on those values versus what's safe, what other people think, or what my doubts or my fears are telling me, there's something super powerful about that. Something that goes beyond, just surviving. There's something that there's a sense of, I think, a sense of like, ah, You know, there's always a sense of like, ooh, what's next? But there's also a sense of like you getting a sense of wholeness. And I think that's what we're looking for. I think as spiritual
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, we're looking for that sense of being whole and based and aligned with our values, based and aligned with like what we value, what we want most, how do we want to feel on a day-to-day basis, who do we want to
Mm,
connect with, what is the emotion, right? And if we're noticing, well, every day I'm feeling stressed, I'm just doing this just because to get by,
mm,
you know, it's
right?
there's something that we deep down know, you know, this is not it. So I, you know, commend you and congratulate you for making those choices based on your values, because you have that clarity. And you know, it's like two of us meeting together where have done a lot of your own work and I've done a certain amount of work, and now we're meeting at this point where it's like, ooh, okay, let's combine our, you know, our strengths
Yeah.
and collaborate with each other to make whatever you need, you know, make whatever you want versus need
Mm,
to happen, you know, and we can do it together. And I think that's the, you know, when you say, oh, waking up and just being excited about your clients, like you are definitely one of those people that I think not even just as a client, but just as a person, you know, like, oh, I get to talk to Eileen today.
Not,
They're
I'm not, I'm
interested.
gonna, that's not
Yes,
every single day that it's like, but a lot of times, like I'm excited to, like today after our call, part of my work is I'm going on a nature walk with my seniors. It's
yes.
amazing
Oh
to
my
go on and
God.
to walk in nature and connect with my seniors, and we're chatting, we're enjoying the view, we're checking out the different birds and the animals. And like that's my Thursdays every other week. My Mondays is going to online with the Alzheimer's Society of Montreal and offering laughter yoga to people who have early onset Alzheimer's and their caregivers. I created in 2021 my first one of my popular programs was the reminiscence and sharing life stories with seniors. And
Hmm.
oh my gosh, the stories that come out, the wisdom that I gain,
Yes.
the connection amongst the seniors. So I kind of tweaked that program. I've always wanted to do an intergenerational program. So now I have
Mm.
these wonderful university student volunteers
Wow.
coming together with my seniors. So the age is 21 to I think 84. We had
Wow.
one lady who was 93. So these are the things that just light me up. It gets me excited. I feel even better. You know, even when I take a 1 week vacation, I miss them. I miss our sessions. I know it's important also to take time off. But yeah, and I
Mm.
also wanted to share, just to be genuine, authentic, and honest. Not everything is rainbows and
Of course.
butterflies. So being an entrepreneur is one day you can like feel on top of the world.
Yes.
Oh, that was
Yes.
great. I'm going to be offering this program with this community organization that I really wanted. And then other days is, oh my gosh, what am I
Yes.
doing? I had the whole imposter syndrome, like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, I'm going to be giving this workshop to this community organization. Like, who am I?
Yes.
Do I know enough about this
Yes.
subject?
Right.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
fears, self-doubt, it all comes, but again, it's just,
And I love that
again,
you bring that up because I don't think that goes away. You know, it's like most of my mentors are making multi-million dollar, you know, and have these huge companies, and that doesn't go away. You know, it's just that we just change our relationship to it. And we
mhm,
understand that, you know, it kind of goes like that. And there's just moments where there's just that part of us that is like, who do you think you are doing this thing? But we just have a different relationship to it. And that's kind of what we do in the program is how can we not get rid of that, but like, how can we collaborate and continue to let that part of us know you're safe, you're okay, we're good. And now we're going to go do
mhm,
this. You know, it's exciting, it's scary, but let's do it, you know, and that's kind of when we remember why we're alive, really, you know?
yeah,
Before we got on this call, it's like, you know, of course, we can be nervous or when we're on interviews and blah blah blah, and we said like, you know, listen, we're gonna live on this earth, we're gonna do what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna die, right? That's just the truth for everyone. So we might as well do it up the way we want, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's really what you're teaching people, and I think that's why we get along so well because we agree that that's kind of the reality. We start to realize life is precious,
It
and
is.
so we have a certain amount of time here on earth. So let's just see. Like, what did I say to my friend? Because she asked me how I was doing. I'm like, let's just ride this mofo until, like, until who knows when, because
Yeah,
we don't know what tomorrow is going to give us. Nothing is
exactly.
guaranteed. But what is
Tomorrow's
guaranteed is
promise.
how we feel in our heart and how we feel in our soul and what we know to be our truth, and we're going to die with that, so we may as well bring it out into the world, so
Absolutely.
um, I guess my last question would be, um, I think you said it all, but now that you've chosen, now that you've chosen, you're working in your business full time. What would you say is what do you love about it the most?
Oh my God, there's so many things.
What's that?
There's so many things. I could give you a whole list of like making the decision to choose joyful connections and just to believe in it and to believe also in myself was something so great, giving me the freedom of time because I don't work 35 hours a week. It's like some week 10, 15, at most 20.
Yeah.
And even when I'm working, again, like I said, it doesn't feel like work, just like the admin part. Um, I think I on our voice note yesterday, I mentioned that my morning was, I had breakfast with the kids. They jumped in the pool. I was like, okay, everybody out, because I have my program from 1 to 2:30. And then after 2:30, I jumped back into the pool with the kids.
Yes.
And then like I went to Father Dowd in the evening to do a 1 hour laughter yoga session. And I was like, that was my day yesterday. It was so great.
It's
Um,
beautiful.
so freedom of time, um, just learning that like for everyone who is afraid and scared and that fear, like if I can do it, you can do it. And
Yes.
like everybody has it in them to be brave and courageous. I'm always telling everyone that I come across to just step out of your comfort zone, even if it's a little bit. If
Yes.
you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, some people, like even for myself, was thinking, oh, well, before I do that, I have to do
Yeah.
this, and I need a website, and maybe I should get another
Mm-hmm.
certification to really, because it's so scary to put yourself out there. We're afraid of other people's judgments. But for me in my situation, well, I didn't have so much time, but it's just to just start, get your feet wet,
Yes.
take that baby step,
Yes.
and you're going to notice like you take the one baby step, take another,
Mm-hmm.
and just trust in the journey
Yes.
and enjoy it, and you look back and you get to see, oh my gosh, um, celebrate all of those small wins.
Yes. So important. So important.
So important. And another thing is something else that I had to learn. Like I said in the beginning, when I first started and it's something new, I charge peanuts for the program.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I charge peanuts, when I charge so little, I just knew, I was like, okay, even though I probably didn't even make that much because I spent on coffee and muffins and cookies
Right.
and tea, um, that I still enjoyed and I loved
Yes.
doing what I was doing. So after that, it's you learn to, you know what, um, to value what you are offering and to
Yes.
know that you have value in what you're offering and to not be afraid to charge what you feel you're worth, not to be afraid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
And
otherwise, we end up burning out, right? And we end up resenting, and we end up not being able to do what we're here to do on a way that's nourishing for us, because it has to be nourishing for us too. And and then that way we can really show up at our highest potential. So I love that you brought that up, because I think that is, I know one of those other things that our clients deal with is that, like, oh my God, how am I, how am I going to charge this and that, and like, also what's interesting is the willingness to charge, and also the willingness to invest. And as you know, this program is a 4 to 5 figure investment, so it's not like a easy peasy, sure, let's just do it. There's a real investment in learning, healing, and then also creating strategy in your business. So um, I think that comes from what you say. It comes from, like, okay, understanding the value of what you do. So if we understand, it's like it becomes this more circular pattern where I'm willing to receive, and I'm also willing to invest. And I think it has to go both ways. It can't just be give, 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 and it can't just be receive, receive, receive. It has to be this kind of, circle. And at the same time, I think the investment, if it's, for some people, if it doesn't have a little bit of skin in the game, and every population is different, but if it doesn't have a little bit of skin in the game, then, we're going to be like, oh, well, we have a call with, maybe I'll skip this call and go swimming with my kids, but when we have real investment in our business,
Yeah.
in that time, and like you said, you have 4 kids to feed, you're like, there's so much on the line.
Yeah.
There's also part of us that are like, okay, all right, Jamie, like, and I'm also like, I understand my clients, they invest in this program, and it's not a light investment, where I'm also going to show up, because I'm going to be like, okay, we got to make that, like, whew, I got to show up, also at my best as well. So there's just something
And you always did.
the energy behind that, what we charge.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's so important also about the investing in the program, and just knowing and keeping in mind, like, there's definitely value in it, and that knowing it's going to come back.
Yes.
It's going to come back anyway through the programs. That's totally worth it.
And I think there's something about that too, because I've invested many, hundreds of thousands of dollars in things, and there's something about also seeing someone else
Yeah.
Charge a certain amount, that you're like, oh, okay. When you see it, done, and you kind of get out of sort of the dollar per hour model, there's something to be said about that, where you're like, oh, okay, that's another way of doing business. Oh, okay. Oh, and like you said, like, if, why not me? And if they can do it, I can also do that. So, any parting words for those out there thinking about committing to fully their life they're fully envisioning? Any parting words that you want to say?
Well, just you already mentioned it, but I keep that in mind, that we only have one life, and that we're here on Earth, like, temporarily. And so I would say, I picture myself at an old age, I hope, if I was blessed to, and to look back on my life and know, like, I had no regrets. I had no regrets. And for me, a big thing was being a service to others. And the mission of Joyful Connections, it's so simple. It's I want to be able to spread more joy, love, laughter, and connection into our world, because we know the world needs it. Really, really needs it. And yeah, just having your own business, again, it gives you that freedom of time, freedom to be with your family, or if it's to spend more time with your friends, or to travel, and that you have the power to choose. Like, you're the driver of your own vehicle. You have the power to choose, and just to believe in yourself. It needs to be just brave, courageous,
So-
and step out of that comfort zone.
yeah,
Just try a little bit and then you'll see. And again,
yeah.
celebrate those, the big wins, the small wins.
Mm, mm. Thank you for inspiring us and inspiring me. It is a
Oh.
joy to really be in your presence. You inspire me. Um, and what would you say to somebody who maybe be on the fence about booking a call and booking a breakthrough yoga coaching call, as we call it, and sending in their, very simple application? What would you say to somebody who maybe, like they're kind of feeling it, like you're feeling it, but they're scared?
Well, well, for myself, it's just go with that gut feeling or that intuition, or
Yes.
there's no harm in me. It's a simple phone call. Like, just make a phone call and see what comes out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't say enough amazing things about Jamie and her just way of coaching, because I find that your coaching is very unique in that it's not just business oriented, but the whole diving deep, which can be a little bit scary, but so good. And that's really something that's so unique about you and so beautiful. It's kind of like you're the whole package. Looking at the
Thank you. I
whole
received that.
person, like the whole person spiritually and so business savvy too. But yeah, I love your guidance, and as a coach, you're not telling people what to do and decision and not making decisions for them. You're really guiding and helping your clients see for themselves. And just by asking asking the right questions, which you always do, and always, and for sure, maybe like, didn't even think about that.
Mm, mm,
And I love, like I said, I love that reflective, the homework that you made me do on what do you want your next 5 years to look like?
mm,
And not just like how, I love that you asked, how are you feeling inside? Or
mm,
like, how are you feeling inside every day? What are you doing?
mm,
Make it, put in as much detail,
mm.
and just amazing to read it almost 2.5 years later. I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And maybe even a little bit more of like the different organizations. I want to continue working with this.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Time to
yeah,
update it, huh?
pardon?
Time to update that 5 years.
Yeah.
Celebrate and update.
Yeah. It's so exciting.
Hmm.
So I strongly suggest, if you're thinking about calling Jamie, do it. Because, like, see, where I'm able to do this interview on a Thursday at 11, and then I get to go on my nature walk.
Mm. Oh my
It's
God.
just,
And that's, I think, the biggest joy for us entrepreneurs to see the people that we serve like at that place where it seems so far and so hard and so to like, I'm here now. Like, oh my God, that almost like unbelievable moment.
I pinch myself.
Yeah. Uh, so
So,
I just want to thank you, Eileen, for being you. I'm going to try not to cry, but
oh, don't make me cry.
this is part of the healing, I guess. And just, I appreciate your courage. I appreciate your faith. I appreciate the exuding joy that you bring to this world. It is so needed, and I'm so happy that you are living your dream.
Oh, thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you for being my coach and just for guiding me. And you really gave me the clarity that I needed. And I'll say this too, that I love that when I gave my resignation letter, that wasn't the last of our sessions. I think we had 2 more sessions after. It was perfect timing because I remember we had our session after maybe 3 days later we had our session, and I was like, like I feel so good. It was a mix of emotions, and you knew that too. You knew also that I was like, yes, I know that you're feeling really good, but at the same time, maybe a little bit scared of, oh my gosh, like what's next? And so I love that. I loved going through the roller coaster of emotions with you.
Mm.
But it was definitely a lot more positive than it was more joy than fear that I was feeling.
Yes.
Definitely like I remember being on my deck, it was sunny, and we were just like, let's just and you told me too, we started off with like a 5-minute meditation of just you reminded me to just let's enjoy this moment and
Yeah.
this feeling. That's coming back to me right now. Because I just felt
Yes.
so
And
calm, and it was a Friday afternoon, and I was like, feel so good, and we're gonna start the weekend.
yes.
So thank
And
you.
yeah, it's reminding me of enjoying this moment as we speak, and like, coming to this like forward motion. We're like, oh my God, we made it, we're here, because also like, I like any coach, we're all like, oh my God, I really want to help this person. Can I really do it? And then to finally come to that place, and like you said, like that belief and that knowing, and following your intuition is powerful. So
It
thank you
is.
so, so, so much. And we're going to continue to
You.
ride the wave together, and,
Yeah.
ride this mofo until we can't anymore.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Again, so
Thank
grateful to
you.
you, Jamie, and all of your clients. Just so blessed to have
Mm.
you.
So I
You
can't wait
really,
to give you a big hug in real life. Maybe
yes,
jump in the pool of yours.
yes, anytime.
All right, everyone. So we can talk forever and ever, as you can see, but this is our time. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you feel inspired, you're going to see the link for to book a call, or DM me and let me know, Jamie, I'm ready for a breakthrough yoga coaching call, and I will be here, ready and waiting. I love you, Eileen. Thank you so much,
Thank
and thank you for
you.
taking the time to share your very inspiring story.
Thank you. Thank you. Sending so much joy, love, and laughter. Have a
Thank you.
great
Bye,
rest of the day.
everyone.
You brought me so much joy.
Mm, you too. You
Oh,
too. Feeling is
thank you.
mutual.
This was so fun. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.